everyone, and welcome to episode 129 of the Otafest podcast.
Holy
it's
shit.
me, special guest Dio, and I'm here with some awesome friends.
Holy moly, it's a Dio.
Holy moly.
I'm alive.
Mean Queen Dio Extreme.
It's that's me. It's barcoded, tattooed on my neck. Meme Queen Extreme.
Queen.
Yes, that's me. Queen.
Meme Queen
Queens.
Cream Extreme Team.
Yes, that's me.
Welcome to the
Dio.
Sour
stream.
cream burrito supreme.
I'm Jay.
Yes, that's me.
Angela's over there. Nancy's somewhere else. And Angela is also with Dio. They're in the same space.
I'm
Amazing.
floating in the ether
Unfortunately.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, living rent free in my mind. That's where he lives.
Yes.
Man,
That's
I
where he
wish it
lives.
was rent-free.
What I am curious to know is, in your corner of the galaxy, has anyone gotten instantly rich over the last week?
I wish.
If I
Me
did, I
too.
wouldn't tell you. Because
My
I'm
landlord's
smart.
Also
going to be
true.
$1,700 richer
Strangely
tomorrow.
enough, yes, but also no.
One of the security guards at my work actually got a little bit of a paycheck.
Ooh.
They get paid.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Yeah, they get paid sometimes.
You guys get money?
Are we still
Wow.
doing that whole money-based economy thing? Oh, right. Yes.
So to not to out him too much, but back in August, he and his grandfather were like, "Hey, let's do stock things." And then on a whim, he was like, "You know what? I'll buy $400 worth of GameStop stock."
And this was last August?
This was last August.
So they bought
Damn.
in at like $20.
It was at like $6 or something. I can't remember what he said.
You
It
know what?
was-
I'm
it
going to
was
do the
cheap.
research. I'm going to do the
It
research.
was really cheap, apparently, for him.
Damn.
And so
Lucky.
he cashed out at around $10,000 profit.
Wow, gosh.
The
Is he
lowest-
looking for a
Crazy.
girlfriend, perhaps?
Yeah, so in September it was 765 US, but in August it was 415
Yeah.
USD. So that really would have been about 650 a share in Canadian.
Oof, 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 oof.
Woof.
Yikes.
But he made it big. Yeah,
Yep.
I have a friend, good friend that I met in the Overwatch space, and it was like a really happy story to like check in with him, because like we keep in touch, and like we're not like super close, but we're not like super distant either. But at the time when we had first sort of been hanging out and doing like Overwatch stuff together, he had been homeless. Like he'd had to move across like the states to like get away from like an abusive family situation, and like he was like
whoa.
legit like sleeping on the street type of thing. And so our goal was to get him picked up by a collegiate team, like collegiate Overwatch team, because if he played collegiate Overwatch, then he would have a place to stay, because you can live at school if you're a student. So that ended up happening. And so as a result of being at school, he was learning and studying business, and ended up like, that's how he ended up getting interested in like the stock market and the stock exchange and educating himself on all that stuff. So he's kind of like, I remember it was really amazing to like see this tweet from him the other day without like outing him. But he had talked about how he went from being legitimately homeless 8 months ago to today being someone who has an entire Bitcoin to his name.
Wild. How much
That
is
is
a Bitcoin
wild. And good
nowadays?
for him.
Pretty close
Yeah.
to $40,000.
It's
Yeah.
42,144.
Wow.
That's not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
I wish I had a Bitcoin.
Me too. I also wish I had a Bitcoin, but it was just a nice way to like check in on an old friend. Whoever was like, I knew you were struggling, and now I'm happy that you're not struggling.
Mm-hmm,
So the stock market shenanigans have been
All
very,
thanks
very
to the
sweet.
meme economy.
The meme economy
Man,
trumps all.
speaking of
Yeah.
meme economy, I found the wallet file for my old Dogecoin wallet.
Oh, really?
And while I was fairly certain that I'd completely emptied it out for Steam money, I wasn't 100% certain. So I went through like 3 different methods of trying to get this 6-year-old wallet file to give me the private key so I could figure things out. And like 3 hours later, I figured, yeah, that wallet's fucking empty.
That sucks.
I tried.
Well,
For what it's
you
worth,
know,
like for anyone who doesn't know about like cryptos, like Doge is a meme currency. Like it does exist, but
Doge was always a meme currency, and for whatever reason, people are pumping it up right now.
literally about 5 days ago, I happened to see like I was just curious about it because people did bring it up, and like I won't lie that I don't like I have stocks, but I'm a fairly safe trader. Like I haven't invested in any of the GME stuff and whatever. But I did look at Dogecoin just like to see what it was, and I actually saw the peak, which is about 7 cents. But that being said, it normally sits at around like 3 cents or 2 cents. So 7 cents was quite
That's
amazing.
actually still very high
That's
for
still
Dogecoin.
very
Percentage
high.
wise,
Yeah.
that's quite high.
Back
That's
when
very
I
high.
was mining Dogecoin, it was worth about a third a cent per coin.
Wow.
yeah, it was worth almost nothing. I remember it being
Yeah.
worth.
Hey,
like,
man, my 100,000 Dogecoin still got me $50 worth of
Same. Like
I was about to
I
say.
also
Steam money.
had a couple 100,000 Dogecoin. It turned into some actual money. But man, if I had held on to that stuff, it would have turned into an actually pretty decent amount of money.
Yeah.
So when I converted it to $50 of Steam money, I had to use Bitcoin as an intermediary, and it was 1/10 of a Bitcoin at that point in time.
Wow.
Oh, if
So that
only you
$50 of
if
Steam
only
money-
you kept it as Bitcoin.
If I hodled that Dogecoin,
Yep. If we had just
it'd be
sat on
$4,000 right now.
But you know what? It's funny because I feel like we're all sort of, I wouldn't say like middle aged, but we're approaching middle age kind of idea, and we're sort of getting an idea of like stocks or whatever. And I feel like we're just echoing the past generations of like, if only I had invested in Google, if only I had invested in Microsoft, invested in Apple. You know what I mean? Like,
because you can't know, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't know the future.
can
Exactly. The
never
closest
know what
Only I
happens.
had a
like-
time machine.
yeah, the closest one of like real value. Like, I'm not saying like GameStop. Here's the truth: GameStop has no real value. It might hurt you to
good
hear
God,
it,
no.
and you'd be like, "That's bullshit." It's got $300 of stock value. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but are people?
but
Do you have enough people to buy it at that price
It's
so
not.
that you
It's,
can actually
it's
turn
not a
it into?
sustainable. Yeah, it's clearly a bubble. I'm not shitting on the whole idea of it. I think it's hilarious. But if you think this is some huge play that like is overturning the stock market, no, it is literally like maybe 1% of the stock market that's being like upturned. And like the word billions gets tossed around a lot for this kind of stuff about who's getting like upturned, but it's
Yeah.
not really as big of a play as you think it is. A lot of stocks are not being affected at all.
The
in
hedge
the overall
fund
market.
that's at the center of all this, Melvin Capital,
Yeah.
a report came out today. They've effectively lost 50% of their value
Right.
Ooh.
from this GameStop boondoggle.
And don't get me wrong, that is still like a lot of money, but it's really only affecting a very small portion of a niche sector of stock markets. You have like
It
that's what
is-
you have to understand.
If you are a part of that hedge fund, it affects you.
Yes.
If you are not a part of
Which
that
is
hedge
most
fund,
more
it does
likely than
not
not.
affect
Yeah.
you.
But sorry, before I got off track there, I was like, the only really recent sort of big play on stock was probably Tesla. And that actually I would say has some real value to it. Some people are still trying to determine their value. Some people say it's overpriced as usual. Some people say it could still keep going. But if you were like someone who has a few $1,000s to throw around on getting some Tesla stock, that would be probably your safe play for some like fun gaming type of like stock market stuff. Otherwise, the GameStop thing, I'm of the opinion that even though like there's a lot of what would you call it, like a societal buildup towards the situation, if it was not for a stock like GameStop, like where it's almost like a meme to do it for a gaming company, because otherwise it's like we wouldn't do this for Kellogg's or something. You know what I mean?
What about for
But
BlackBerry?
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
I don't think it's a meme because of GameStop. It's a meme because like the same thing with like AMC or the BlackBerry stocks or even like Nokia a little bit. It's the idea that like these stocks have been trending down.
Yeah, they've been shorted. I get that. Like they've been bet against. That's the whole point of a hedge.
They can be bet against, right?
Yes.
So I think that's the whole thing
But-
is people are buying into the meme because it's frustrating to see like the little guy get dumpstered on by a person who can bet on them losing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that there are like I'm not going to try to assume that my knowledge of stock markets are vast, but those aren't the only little guys. In fact, you could argue that they're not quite as little as you think they are, right? Like the truth is there are serious little guys. I would argue that I'm staying on my point that I think it is a meme because these stocks have a certain nostalgia or some sort of sentimental tie to the community that is boosting them. It's not just
They're also just the biggest little guy. Like
Jay
sort of.
does have a point, though. If this was
Yeah.
happening to some no-name, like, numbered oil company,
exactly.
no one would care.
Well, no one
No
would
one
care
would
because it's an
care.
oil company. But like,
it's like,
if
oh
it
my
were,
god, oil company 42069 is getting shorted to the moon.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Buy
Well, actually, no,
buy
shorted
more
it to
oil.
the ground.
Yeah.
But you better buy oil company 42069 stock, and that is not legit financial advice
Yeah.
in the
Like,
case that stock actually
I don't
exists.
disagree
None of
that
this
it's a meme. I agree
So-
with it. People are buying into it because it's a meme because GameStop is the biggest little guy you could have
in this scenario,
in this kind
yeah.
of situation.
But yeah,
kind of situation.
I do feel like sentimentality comes to it, like a theater company, like a video game company. Obviously, it's just if it wasn't them, I really don't. If it wasn't happening to them, I don't think this would have come about. There's definitely a big play about that, but it's still kind of cool to see. I didn't really participate. I looked into it, I really did, and I was like, I don't need to lose money.
well, that's the
Yeah.
thing is
I
that
mean,
investing in
the-
stocks is a gambling game.
It is gambling,
Don't put
yes.
money into
Yeah.
stocks that you're not comfortable losing. Is the
Losing,
general
yeah,
sentiment
exactly.
behind
It's the general
stocks.
advice, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing for the reason that this happened is it happened because of a leak, right? Like,
Yeah.
normally you wouldn't know that a stock
Is
in
being
any company
shorted.
for any reason is being shorted. It comes from the fact that there was a leaked Twilio document. Twilio is a tech company, a big tech company that has a bunch of
Was it
different
a
products.
leak? I was under the impression that this sort of
wasn't-
market movements were completely public information.
It was public information. Like it wasn't that it was private, but you wouldn't have noticed it if not
Yeah.
for the document that it was in.
I
Okay.
guess. Yeah.
Like it's like if you had wanted to go, let's say you want to go and dig into the stock information on blah 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 company, then sure, you could have dug into GameStop in particular and noticed that their stocks were trending down and hazard a guess that probably someone somewhere was shorting them. But the information relating to Twilio's clients, namely the hedge fund that was shorting GameStop, like you wouldn't have had that information. So maybe like leak isn't the right word, but you wouldn't have had sort of like the
It was
narrowed
almost like inside
lens.
information, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had
Basically,
the
if you
narrowed lens that you have.
Yeah, if you weren't sort of part of the trading hemisphere, you probably wouldn't have paid attention to it normally.
Yeah.
So to rephrase it, the fact that it was being shorted was public information. The fact that it was shorted, what was it, 140% of its float was public information. It's just that no one was actually looking to see that until this one report was like, yeah, guys, GameStop's shorted to 140% of its float right now. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. My favorite thing...
And then people started paying attention.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Nancy.
So a lot of the discussion, a lot of the news coverage, et cetera, has been around what the people who went in on this effort, this initiative to try and bring the stock up astronomically, and then also from the side of the hedge fund that was trying to short it. I kind of wonder what the people behind GameStop are thinking right now.
That's a good question. I'm of the opinion where they're like, I don't know what is happening. I'm just along for the ride as well. Like they didn't expect. No, because when I just looked up like the data, right, for the trending, in the last 5 years, it was down to even like $3 USD. Like
Wow.
it has not been doing well in whole. And the truth is, we all knew this because we're all gamers. We know where our primary gaming interests lie and where our primary
We
distributors are.
we know
It's
which
not
gaming
GameStop.
lords hold our wallets. We
Yeah.
do. We're
It's
not
not
shy
GameStop.
about that either.
But my favorite thing that's actually come up about this is I don't really care about all the memes explaining what's happening. I don't care about the memes about like hold the line or like we're gonna upturn the stock
Hodl.
market. I don't care about any of that.
Huddle to the moon.
Yeah, my
Hodor.
favorite one is actually where someone's like, they're describing the new GameStop experience, and it's like, yes, welcome, sir, to GameStop. May I take your jacket, sir? And it's like, yes, you will find your free complimentary Red Bull on the side.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Take your time
Red Bull.
browsing.
Red Bull. What is this? They got the premium sparkling G Fuel, man.
Oh, my bad.
Is that a
My
thing?
bad.
No, hold on. Is that
G
a thing?
Fuel
thing?
is a powder, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I imagine you can just mix it into sparkling water.
Oh my god, that would taste
But yeah,
awful.
just the idea that like because we all
Or
know
what if you
that,
mixed it into champagne?
Oh my god.
we all know that like the GameStop experience
Fuel
yeah, is not that good
for
like,
your
we've all
Halo
been there.
campaign.
Yeah, but there is like the ones that were just like yes, the premium experience. Thank you for shopping GameStop, sir.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. Like everyone's been talking about everything but the GameStop, the actual company itself. I'm just very curious to know what's really going on in the heads of the people who own GameStop right now.
Everyone
we're
who owns
billionaires.
GameStop stock options, like any of the employees with GameStop stock, are like fucking sell. Except for anyone who's on Wall Street Bets and is into the Kool-Aid, who's like, huddle to the moon, and yeah, that's really just all. Everybody who has GameStop stock knows exactly what the fuck is going on with GameStop
and
stock right now.
with this whole like to the moon thing, I'm going to say like one thing, and this is the only thing that I would consider as giving advice. Be careful because it is a bubble and it will burst. And if you weren't willing to, if you invested something like 10 grand, which is like, you thought like,
That's a lot of
like
money.
I see going
That's
into
a
it.
lot of money for you to
And I
gamble
can
with.
understand that maybe you're looking at like if you sell right now and it's like 400 grand, 500 grand, I don't know what it could be right now for you. That's great and all, but be careful.
Beware that
because
when it
it
bursts-
falls, and it will.
It will be hard.
The one thing that I know for certain about the stock market is that every dollar that somebody makes on the stock market is a dollar that someone else got screwed out of.
Yeah. In this case, it's mostly hedge fund money, and we're not so upset about it. But
Exactly.
it will come back to you, and maybe GameStop does come out better on the end. Like we were talking about, what does GameStop owners do with the money? Maybe they invest in their product. Maybe it becomes a better product. But that really still only means that their stock is worth maybe $50 or $20. You know what I mean? Like it's not that often that you hit $100 stocks. Those are expensive.
My
stocks.
understanding before the stock started getting really shorted, like over 100% shorted, it was sitting around the $16 area, something of that nature, which is perfectly acceptable for something like
think so.
GameStop stock.
I think so.
Like, to be fair, GameStop is a struggling company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a $16 stock price kind of reflects that.
yeah.
Maybe. I don't know what a good stock price is now that I think about it. I could be I am talking out of my ass
But
right
yeah,
now.
like that's
So
the
I should
only.
just stop.
I'm just saying. I'm reiterating that the only thing that you really need to be aware of, and I know it sounds like it's obvious, but that bubble will burst, and you will need to get your money. And hopefully
Again,
before.
Not advice,
Yeah.
but anybody who's thinking about buying GameStop stock right now is probably buying close to the peak of the market, and that's just a bad idea.
also true.
yeah. Never a good
Anyways.
idea. On to more fun things.
More fun things.
Instead of the black and red, what about the black and the pink stuff?
BLACKPINK in your area.
First of all, I want to thank Dio again for inviting me. It was
You're so
super
welcome.
fun.
It was such a
Dio,
good time.
what did you do?
Okay,
I want to know all about this.
Yes. So, BLACKPINK, for those who do not know, is a very popular Korean girl group. They are the most popular female act. So, like an act as in more than just an individual singer in the entire world, which is crazy, but good for them. They are made up of 4 members: Jenny, Rose, Lisa, and Jisoo. And they're really interesting as a K-pop group because they're a little bit multicultural. 3 of the members speak English very fluently. Rose grew up in Australia. Jenny spent a lot of time in New Zealand as a child. Lisa is from Thailand, so she speaks Korean, Thai, and English.
Cool.
Yeah. And then Jisoo is the only like native. I was born in Korea. I've lived in Korea my whole life. Korean member of the group, and
Wow.
I love her. She's the oldest. She's
A
like
lot
a
of
really
their
cool
songs
mom.
actually are either in Korean and English, or some of them they've done straight English covers.
Yeah, they've done straight English covers. They have they've done English versions of,
Their own
or like partial English versions of some of their songs. They have mixed Korean English songs. They also have mixed Korean English Japanese songs and mixed English Japanese songs, versions of their songs. And so this year, 2020 was like a big year for BLACKPINK. They had 3 singles. 3 singles, 2 B-sides, and a full album come out over the course of 2020.
Nice.
And so normally, as an artist, when you have an album and you have a bunch of songs, and you have a bunch of fans and a bunch of hype, you have a concert, right? And previously, back in 2019, when they had their like second EP and like Kill This Love was taken over the internet, they had a world tour and they went all around the world and performed. And I guess they were originally planning to do a world tour again, but obviously given the state of the world, you can't really do a world tour and you can't really have people go to in-person events. So they decided to do an online virtual concert on YouTube, which was yesterday. And so what I decided to do was I wanted to buy the VIP ticket and watch the concert, but I figured it would be kind of lonely to like just watch the concert in my house by myself. I want to invite some friends. We'll watch it together over Discord, and we'll have like a little watch party and we'll watch the concert together. And so that's what we did yesterday night, and it was really, really fun. Everybody was really excited, and I'm really into it.
Wow, Dio just out here talking about that piracy. It's like I hear the FBI knocking on the door right
Piracy.
now.
We all had tickets.
Yes,
Yeah.
everybody had tickets.
Absolutely.
There was
Yeah.
no sharing video over Discord.
Exactly.
I'm
There
gonna watch
was,
this
Nicole and
from front to
enjoy it.
back when it's actually available to watch for free.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So they are rebroadcasting it as well, which makes me super excited because I'm just going to watch it again. Because
Yay!
why wouldn't I?
You paid your
but
ticket.
I paid my ticket, so that means I get to rewatch it.
Super worth it, by the way.
It was very worth it. So
Super good
the
price.
cost of the VIP ticket was 45 Canadian, and the regular
bad.
ticket was 30 Canadian.
Oh,
yeah,
not
why
bad
not?
at all.
$15. Yeah, I was saying at the end, like, so people may know that I am not the biggest K-pop stan. It's not like I don't like it, but I mostly consume my K-pop or my Korean media through like variety shows and other stuff that's like more comedic nature. But you do get like I know who like BLACKPINK was, and being like Blink fans or whatever. But I honestly didn't know how much I missed sort of like live shows, because they had a very
Yeah.
good live show vibe. They mixed it with some pre-recorded, which was fine because it was expected. They got some costume changes, some stage changes as well. I think there was a very like acceptable, reasonable amount of like audience interaction. Like they would do a little bit of like what would you call it? Like almost like talking head parts where they would
Yeah,
speak
where
to...
like they sit and they talk about like their feelings on
Yeah.
the song, or like what they're most excited to do,
Yeah.
like now that they've released their album, like things like that.
But
I
most
genuinely
of all,
enjoy that.
But most of all, the shows were hot as hell.
Oh my god, it was so
Yeah.
good.
Like there was nothing to like. The only thing that we as a group were like didn't love all the costume changes, like the ones that were selected for each member, but the choreography was on point. The singing was on point.
Choreography, the vocals, the
stage,
stages
wow,
were incredible.
The stages were great.
Yeah, so I want to talk about a particular stage. So they did a bunch of their sort of like big, very popular songs that they've done, like all of their hit singles. So Boom Baya, Kill This Love. Kill This Love was the song that they opened up with.
Kill This Love is such a jam.
It's a banger track, but the other sort of like huge, major, super crazy hit that they've had and that they've done was D4, so Do Do Do. And I love that song. I listen to that song all the time, and I was really curious to see like how they were going to incorporate, because I was like, of course they're going to do that song during the concert. So they had their pre-recorded footage was of Pretty Savage, which they had shown a couple days before the concert. They were guests on The Late Show, and so they let The Late Show show the Pretty Savage cover, or the Pretty Savage performance, and they transitioned it into D4, and it was so cool because it starts off with them and they're like lit, they're like backlit, so you can only see their silhouettes. Right as the music starts, and then you see the pyrotechnics come up behind them, like with the fire, and then down below them as they start singing sort of like the intro to the song, you can see this entire like group of male backup dancers, and they're all shirtless, and they're in like a pool. They're in like a pool of water, and they're like dancing.
Stage.
Oh my god!
It's like a water stage.
Pool of water is maybe not the best way of putting it. It was like ankle deep. Sort of.
Yeah.
Pool is like they weren't swimming.
They weren't swimming, but it was like a water. Yeah, puddle stage. It was like a water stage.
But it was
like
very cool.
I love when people do water stage as well, though. Like it's just so sexy.
But we were also saying like there was some probably benefit to having pre-recorded stuff, because like for sure they got wet. The water stage was pre-recorded, but we were saying like you do not want to screw that up on live. Like you just can't afford to.
You can't afford to
too
because
risky
like
physically.
Yeah, because they get down off the stage, because there's a fire going on behind them. Then they get down onto the stage and they're singing and dancing, and they do like the next two choruses and the next two verses just completely in the water with the backup dancers.
Yes.
And they're splashing, like everybody's like splashing water around intentionally to make it like this big show, and they're dancing. And then there's laser lights that are going in and out of the water. It was so cool. And I totally agree that I'm like, if you mess that up on live, like how do you recover from that? Because like what happens if somebody gets
seriously injured or
gets injured, or like worse, like they have their their Wi-Fi like equipment for their microphone and stuff. If you fall in the water and that gets drenched and stops working, like in the middle of the performance, no one can hear you sing anymore. So it was very cool.
To be fair, I've seen a lot of instances where like people have taken clips of BLACKPINK performing, and they will like highlight little things like, this is Jennie telling the sound engineer to turn her microphone up, or this is Jisoo telling the audio engineer that she can't hear in her earpiece. It's so cool. They're so subtle, but they're trained
so
to do this.
They're professionals and they know what to do, and it's like it was just a really cool set of performances to watch. It was really exciting. I had a really fun time. I hope someday the world will be a much healthier place and I'll be able to see them live. I really want to see them live. I think that would be incredibly fun. That would be so much fun.
The friggin' solos. The solos
were amazing.
Holy crap. Each girl got, I think, 2 solo parts, I want to say.
No, they each got one.
Was it one?
Each one. Each
but I feel like
person
some of them
got
had,
one.
Yeah, no, you're right. They were like just so amazing, because like they had it was the makeup and the stage, the songs themselves were amazing.
It was solo.
The whole
it was
thing.
Jennie's
like,
solo.
I felt like they were like seriously like such good feature pieces for each member. Like, oh my god, I would rewatch those again. And I'm not huge into this. I am really not. Like, but I appreciate the design so much.
Production
as, like,
value.
part of the overall package. And when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, Give it to me.
Yeah. It was very cool from like a performance standpoint. Like I loved the individual stages. They've always done individual stages for Blackpink, I think, because like they have 4 members, so they can fairly reasonably fit like 4 individual performances into an hour and a half show, as opposed to like say a bigger girl group where it's like if you have 9 members and they all have to do a solo, your entire concert is just them doing solo performances, right?
Yeah.
So they had Jisoo did a cover of Habits, and she wrote her own Korean lyrics for that, and it was really cool because she was like on this like stage that was set up like a really romantic, vintage like Victorian style room, and she had this big beautiful chiffon-y like curly ball gown. It was really cool, and she had these like interpretive dancers were dancing on a stage beside her.
Terrible camera work.
Yeah, the cameraman was like, I see that there's dancers, so we're gonna pan the camera over and zoom in on Jisoo's face, and I'm like, okay, she's beautiful, and I appreciate it, but like, there's a stage and she's singing and there's dancers. I want to see all of them, please.
Yeah, give me all 3, or at least some focus shots on the dancers as well, because they deserve it. They worked hard.
They worked hard. The dance was good.
I saw I swear to God, we saw like 5 seconds of the dance.
What was that thing that Overwatch League used so you could switch between like every different player and different camera views?
Oh yeah, like the viewer thing on Twitch.
I would love
Twitch
that.
Has like a little
So basically, they
concerts.
need that
right
for the concert.
That would be amazing. That would
That's
have been
exactly
I mean,
what
that's
I
just
want.
like squad play stuff on Twitch too, isn't it? Whatever
Yeah,
it's
but
called.
they also have it for
But-
I guess they call it squad play now, but like they have it set up where if you watch, like if they do concerts or performances and stuff on Twitch, you can watch multiple perspectives from different cameras and kind of like tap around. It's really cool.
Imagine if they had a
cool.
camera like to focus on each girl, but then like also different views of the stage.
That would have been cool. I would have loved that. That would have been amazing to watch.
That's a lot of
my
ways to
favorite
screw up
stage
a concert.
Jeez.
there were the solo stages were so good. So Jisoo was the first one, and that was really cool. And then they switched into Jennie, and Jennie had previously had a solo song called Solo. And so she had just the most incredible makeup, outfit, everything.
The hair.
Like the hair. She had like this like, I don't know how else to describe it. Imagine
It's
like
a braided like pigtail that's like loops
back into itself. Like it was like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was it was
just
such a
created
unique
such a
silhouette.
good profile with like her face shape and like her head shape kind of.
It
It
was
was
I can
so
really
good.
appreciate all the production value that goes into all this.
Yeah.
So
And she wrote a
Dio,
new
are
rap.
we gonna
It was
get something like
amazing.
this for Otafest one day?
I hope. Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
technically that's my
So
Yeah,
Jay,
that's
are we
totally
gonna?
Jay's
not
wheelhouse.
yours. So
But I
just
hope
for
we
that,
can have that
just for you
someday.
asking the wrong person, no, none.
Oh no.
I mean, okay, you also don't
way.
get this, but
I mean, I already got it. I already got to watch it. So
That is
You
true.
won't get
You
it
did
for
get to
Otafest.
watch it. But it was so
the show.
it was so lovely. And then so Jennie wrote her own lyrics for she wrote new lyrics for her own song, like a new rap verse, which was really awesome. And then Lisa came out
Sick
with
rap.
a Doja Cat Say So cover,
Oh.
and she had her own little
her
choreography
stage,
that she had written for this
whole
performance,
style.
and she had this beautiful golden dress,
It
these
was a
golden
black
boots.
and gold and silver affair, and it was like sort of vintagey too. Like it was
It
so
was
hot.
so good. It was amazing. Like
Oh
the
my
choreo,
God, dude.
the vocals were like nice and sweet, and she wrote her own rap verse into it because she's one of the rappers in Blackpink. It was so great. And then Rose went last, and she hit us with the most lovely gift. There's been teasers for the past week that she is getting her own solo song, and she showed half the MV of her new solo song, and then she sung live
It
the full
transitioned
song.
naturally into a live performance from the pre-recorded MV.
Magic of internet television.
It was a nice.
It was so cool. So it was a very fun, enjoyable experience. So full disclosure, I've never been to an in-person concert before. It's always been something I've wanted to do.
Wait, ever?
No, I've never been to an in-person
Wild.
performance. So there were, and every single time I've regretted it. So the first time I wanted to go see someone live, I wanted to go see My Chemical Romance because I was a big My Chemical Romance fan as a teen. And I never got to go. I couldn't afford tickets at the time because I was like a teenager.
She was
and
a
then they
baddie.
disbanded. Yeah. Then they disbanded, and I was really sad. They've recently sort of come back together. So there might be a reunion tour at some point in the future that I want to attend. And the other time I really wanted to go see an artist live was when Lil Nas X came to Stampede. And I was like, oh, I really want to go. Like, it's going to be great. But I wasn't sure about it because I found out about it last minute and realized that I would have to take time off of work because the concert was at like 1 p.m. on like a Wednesday or something.
That's wild.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to. And I mean, that's just because it's Stampede, right? Like, there's sort of like this like culture of like, you just do stuff all day at Stampede, and like when Stampede happens you take like the whole week off or you take a couple days off of work. But I didn't want to do that like last minute, so I didn't go, and I regret it because I would have loved to see Lil Nas X live. And so when I was like, I see that there's an opportunity to watch BLACKPINK, you know, it's not going to be the same as seeing them live, but it's going to be better than not seeing them at all, and it was well worth the $45.
I hope if BLACKPINK has a show, like I would honestly go just based on what I saw on like, I would hope that they don't do too many, like, I wonder what their view is on American touring right now. I would hope maybe they would do a Vancouver show, and I would go.
I think they would, because I believe they did do, when they did their world tour, they did Vancouver and Toronto.
Yeah.
So I could see them doing that again. And then they also did, when they were in North America, like the North American leg of their tour, that's when they did Coachella as well. So they have a pretty high opinion of like, sort of like Western concert culture, and supposedly they were really excited and like really like their dream was to do Coachella, so they were really happy that they got to do it in 2019. Cool. So I'm hoping that like, yes, please, when you are allowed to tour again and it's safe to do so, please come to Vancouver I can go.
Bliss.
But yeah, like I said, after the show I was like, this was a really good show. I'm super sad about not seeing any concerts for the past year. Like, I'm not huge into concerts, but I like my live shows. And
this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think I actually enjoy the way they did it because of the live performances I have been to. I find that the sheer volume kind of doesn't let me enjoy the music as much as I would like. And part of that is, you know, when I actually, you know, started going to shows with people, my friends actually started recommending, like, you should have musicians' earplugs for these shows. Like, I don't know why you're going to these with completely no ear protection. And that had never occurred to me because when I was growing up, people were like, yeah, I still can't hear after yesterday's concert. It's so great.
No, that's not a good thing. That's not healthy for your ears.
Yeah, but you know, kids, right? Like,
don't know any better.
That's actually something that I've noticed in the past. Was actually the thing that made me enjoy going to live shows more, was having musicians' earplugs. But before that, I don't think I really got what was so great about live performances because the volume just hurt. I couldn't enjoy the good music because it just hurt to listen to it.
To me, the best part about live shows, for anyone who's never been to one, is as much as you may be a fan of the artist and is like fan of the songs, the experience that you get isn't like, of course they're not going to be able to address you directly, you're not going to get backstage most likely, but it's the improvisation and sort of like you see the humanity of the people behind the artists and just behind the songs. They'll give you those stories a lot of the time where it's like, I wrote the song because of this, or this is special to me because of this reason, and we came together to write this song. And like, you usually won't get those on the album. You might get those on Wikipedia, like if you really want to look it up about it, but you don't get that moment of like humanity that you normally don't see because you kind of idolize, you know, artists in general. So it's kind of, to me anyways, the sort of big bridging moment that you get as a fan and of their work and why they do it at all. But that's me.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair.
We've got a little bit of time. We can talk about food. because we love
I love
food.
food. We do love
I
food.
ate food today.
Disgusting.
Tell us
Get out.
about the food.
Tell me.
So, for the last little while, most of the meats that are in my diet, it's just like pork, beef, chicken. It gets monotonous. Like, there's a million different ways to cook chicken, but at the end of the day, it's still chicken, right?
Chimkin.
And so last night while I was at work, I stumbled across some Adam Ragusa and some other videos about salmon and how it's almost impossible to fuck up and how
That's
it's
a
super
lie.
good and easy. And I was like, hell yeah.
But then you found a way to screw it up. Right?
No. I mean, parts of it were overcooked, parts of it were undercooked, and it was all good no matter what.
I see. You just mixed
And
the
so,
overcooked
yeah.
with the undercooked part.
I had salmon today for dinner. It was, I think that's actually my first time ever cooking salmon.
How did you prepare it?
Very simple. I just salt, pepper, garlic powder, medium hot in olive oil, and just basically pan fried it like that.
Skin on
Yeah,
or
it was
off?
good. Skin on,
Hell yeah.
but that's because I don't have a fillet knife sharp enough,
That's okay.
or a fillet knife at all.
You can eat
to
the
really
skin.
get the skin off. But it had the scales on there, so
You
Oh, no.
need to learn how to unscale it.
yes.
Yes.
That is a thing. But after you do that, the skin is also delicious. And
That's
I
what I
would
hear.
recommend.
But I've tried
Especially
eating
if you
scales
sear it.
before many years ago, and
Scale
it does
no
not
good.
work out very well.
No,
Scale
scales are
is
no
fish
good. But if
armor.
you sear the skin so it's crispy, it's usually very good.
But hey, you
Yes.
are on the way. This is the
You
path
are.
And
to better
the meat was
salmon.
nice and flaky, and it just came right off the skin. It was very good. It was very good.
Congratulations
have?
on your
I-
first foray.
So I had some asparagus, just steamed and with some lemon on it.
Yum.
Of course, lemon on the
Perfect.
salmon as
Butter?
well. Butter, no. No. And then just some salad with balsamic vinaigrette.
Okay.
A very acidic dinner. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. Salmon used to be my go-to when I was living alone because I would cut up a giant salmon fillet thingy, and then I would just have them portioned into little mini tinfoil packs that had like little cut up carrots inside them already, and then I would just pop one in the oven and it would essentially steam it for me for dinner.
Nice.
That was like the quickest, easiest way to deal with salmon.
Nice. I'm actually fairly biased against store-bought fish because when I was growing up, we lived right near the Detroit River and the Great Lakes.
The trois.
And so anytime we would go out and get fish, we would just walk down to the river, catch like 5 or 6 perch, and we would take them
With
home
your
for dinner.
bare hands.
Like perch or sunfish or even bass. Like
Perch is good.
it was amazing. Like perch is still my favorite
Angela,
fish.
do you want to go
easily.
fishing?
Not out here because
Why
bait
not?
fishing's illegal in Alberta.
No, not bait.
You're just
Without a
sitting at the
license.
fucking
Without a
side of the
license.
river for
We
like
can go
6
fly
hours
fishing.
doing nothing.
No, you can go. You can take boats.
You can boot.
Where the fuck do you go to? Everything is knee deep.
We can go boot.
You can go into the lakes. You can go fishing in the
Fucking
lakes.
li- No,
The answer
Yeah.
is
it's
okay.
too
I'm gonna
far
go
to
find a
get to the
different.
lakes.
Angelo's been spoiled for seafood, especially if he came from out east.
I
That's
would
the thing.
hardly argue going to a lake is being spoiled for seafood.
When
well,
you get
just
to the lake
fact
in
that he
20
had so
minutes
much access to fresh fish,
and you
don't
get
really
like
hear.
50-foot deep water off the side of a fucking dock,
I will remind you now
you can't
that
get
I
that
was
out here.
born in Vancouver. Don't tell me about your lake, boy.
Don't cite the deep magic to me.
I was there when
I was
it was
there when
written.
it was written. But that's the thing, like, Jay, you know what good water is like.
Yeah, but I still want to go
Alberta
fishing.
doesn't
Fishing
have
is
it.
part of like it's also the process as well as the fish. Like I'm okay with both. Fishing is like I don't know.
It's an
It's like driving a
experience.
go-kart is still fun. Driving a golf cart is still fun, and driving a car is still fun. All of these things are good.
Maybe I, because
also- it
I
also sounds like
grew
you
up in
haven't given it a
Ontario
chance.
where bait fishing was the norm, whereas out here
Fly
it's
fishing.
considered poaching. Fly fishing is the only situation where I've ever had lures actually work. In every other situation, it's like the fish just don't go for lures. That's just
Maybe they
been
just
my
don't like
experience.
you specifically. I've never
No.
had a problem fishing out here.
It's been a long time since I've been fishing too.
We
But
all
man.
go fishing. We go
But,
fish.
Yeah, that's just been my experience. Fly fishing, on the other hand, is the best kind of fishing.
If you're good at it.
Absolutely.
If you're good at it. I've seen many
Not
a
even.
horrible accident when, people were figuring out how to do the fly part of fly fishing. It was
Oh.
not a good time.
I guess.
Oh, so I actually have a scar in my eyebrow from when my sister was learning how to cast a line.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was the fish that day.
Exactly.
Angelo
man.
become fish, and now he is delicious.
Of course I'm delicious. Have you seen me?
Are
He's
you
well
fish?
marbled.
He's fish.
He's fish.
He's fish.
Anyway, thank you everyone for coming to this episode of the podcast.
Thank you.
Fish, fish, fish.
Yeah, it was so
Fish.
good to fish with everyone.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for the Blackpink concert deal. Thank
You're
you,
so welcome.
Angelo and Nancy, as always, for joining me. And thank you for fish.
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 Experience fish.
Give me a fish.